In the grand theater of technology, two titans are locked in an eternal war. Apple versus Google. iOS versus Android. It's the story of walled gardens versus open systems. A rivalry so deep, Steve Jobs himself famously declared he would spend his last dying breath to destroy Android, a stolen product. But what if I told you this war is a performance? What if I told you that behind the curtain, these two bitter enemies are partners in the single most profitable and most controversial deal in modern history? Every year, Google quietly writes a check to Apple, not for a small amount. In 2022, it was estimated to be $20 billion. This isn't a partnership. This is the biggest protection payment in corporate history. And the story of why reveals who truly holds all of the power in Silicon Valley. The $20 billion question is, for what? The answer is embarrassingly simple. It's for this. That's it. That tiny bar is the $20 billion product. The price Google pays to stand at the gate of Apple's empire, to be the default search engine on every iPhone, every iPad, and every Mac on the planet. For Apple, it's $20 billion of pure, effortless profit. They don't have to do anything. This one deal alone makes up nearly 15% of Apple's entire annual profit. It's a cash machine. For Google, it's a terrifyingly high cost of doing business, but it's worth every single penny. Why? Because Apple users are the most valuable customers on Earth, the ones who click on ads and buy products. Apple controls the front door to hundreds of millions of the world's wealthiest users. And Google is willing to pay anything to be the one standing at that door.
But this secret, cozy deal has now placed both companies in the crosshairs of the most powerful entity on Earth, the United States government. The Department of Justice is suing Google in the largest antitrust case of our generation. And at the center of it all lies this one deal. The government argues this isn't a payment, it's a payoff, an illegal monopoly. They claim Google is using its mountain of cash to suffocate competition before it can even breathe. Smaller search engines like DuckDuckGo or Microsoft's Bing, they never stood a chance because Apple already sold the front door to the highest bidder. And this lawsuit exposes something far deeper. Google's entire search empire, the engine behind its AI and maps, now depends entirely on its greatest rival, Apple. And Apple? Well, it's become addicted to free money.
The trial is happening right now, and the outcome could change the internet forever. If the government wins, Google could be forced to stop these payments, shattering its dominance. And Apple would instantly lose one of its biggest sources of income. This forces Apple's hand. Do they finally build their own Apple search engine? Or do they let other search engines bid for the spot? This $20 billion deal reveals the true, complex, and dirty nature of power in Silicon Valley. It was never really Apple versus Google. It was Apple and Google versus everyone else.
The story doesn't end here. The next chapter of the future is already being written. Subscribe and don't fall behind.